in the 18th century. Britain was a small island off the coast of Europe with no precious metals, few natural resources, and a relatively small population. Yet, over the course of a few decades, it would transform itself into the world's first modern industrial powerhouse. This rapid process became known as the Industrial Revolution, and it completely reshaped the global balance of power by ushering in an era of unprecedented technological progress and material wealth for the British people. But how did they do it? What was it about this little island that enabled it to dominate the rest of the world at the dawn of the modern age? In this video, we're gonna unlock the secrets of the greatest economic miracle in human history. The Industrial Revolution was a complex process with multiple contributing factors. However, most historians agree that there are 7 essential ingredients needed for a country to succeed during this era. And Britain had all of them in abundance. The first ingredient is abundant access to capital, which refers to the amount of money available for investment within an economy. Capital is essential for funding innovation and entrepreneurship, allowing inventors to turn their ideas into reality without having to rely on the generosity of kings or queens. Britain had more capital than any other country in Europe because it was one of the first to establish a stock market. This allowed entrepreneurs to raise large sums of money by selling shares of their companies to investors, which gave them the financial freedom to take risks with new technologies. Another important factor is agricultural productivity, which refers to the amount of food produced per acre of farmland. If farmers can produce enough food to feed a growing population without using up all their resources, then some of that food can be diverted towards feeding factory workers, who will drive the industrial economy. Britain's agricultural productivity was higher than its European neighbours because it had the most advanced farming technology. This included new tools like the seed drill, which allowed farmers to plant seeds more efficiently and accurately, as well as new techniques like crop rotation, which kept part of the land unused each year to replenish its fertility. As a result, British farmers could grow more food with less effort, freeing up their time to work in factories instead. The third ingredient is a ready and willing workforce, which means a large population that is healthy and educated enough to operate machines. Without a workforce, there would be no one to staff the factories or operate the new technologies. Britain had a massive headcount advantage because it experienced something called the epidemiological transition before the rest of Europe. This refers to the decline of infectious diseases, which increased life expectancy and led to population growth. From the 1700s onwards, people in Britain lived longer and had more children, which caused the country's population to double from 6 million to 12 million people between 1700 and 1850. These extra people would become the workforce of the Industrial Revolution. The fourth ingredient is scientific progress, which provided the knowledge and principles behind many of the new technologies. Britain produced more inventions than any other country because it had the world's first modern scientific community. This was a group of independent researchers who were not affiliated with a university or government institution and were free to pursue their own interests without the constraints of tradition or authority. As a result, British scientists were able to make bold discoveries in fields like physics, chemistry, and engineering, which laid the foundation for many of the Industrial Revolution's most important innovations. For example, James Watt's improvements to the steam engine were based on his understanding of thermodynamics, while the invention of the spinning jenny was based on the principles of mechanics. The fifth ingredient is urbanization, which refers to the growth of cities. As people moved to cities for factory jobs, they congregated into densely populated urban areas, leading to bigger markets for goods and services. This also led to greater specialization of labor, meaning that workers could focus on one aspect of production rather than making the entire product by hand. Britain had the world's first modern city, Manchester, which grew from a small market town of 2,000 people in 1700 to a bustling metropolis of 200,000 people by 1850. Its phenomenal growth can be attributed to several factors, including its central location in the transport network, its proximity to coal and iron resources, and its position at the heart of a new cotton manufacturing industry. The sixth ingredient is access to foreign resources, which refers to the availability of raw materials and markets outside of Britain. This was extremely important because many of the new technologies required resources that were not found in Britain, such as coal and iron ore. Additionally, Britain needed access to foreign markets for its manufactured goods, or else its factories would quickly become overcrowded and the economy would stagnate. Britain had unparalleled access to foreign resources because of its extensive colonial empire. At the peak of the Industrial Revolution, the sun never set on the British Empire, because it had colonies all over the world, from North America and South Africa to India and Australia. Through these colonies, Britain gained access to vast amounts of raw materials, as well as new markets for its manufactured goods. This gave it a significant advantage over its European rivals who lacked such extensive networks. And the seventh and final ingredient is a stable political system, which is essential for maintaining law and order, protecting property rights, and ensuring the free flow of trade. Without a stable political system, the risk of revolution, war or civil unrest is high, which can easily destroy the delicate balance of the industrial economy. Britain had the world's first stable political system, constitutional monarchy, which combined the powers of the king with those of Parliament. This meant that no one person or group had too much power, and everyone was subject to the rule of law. Additionally, Britain had a strong navy that protected its shipping lanes and enforced its laws on the high seas. This stability attracted foreign investment and allowed British entrepreneurs to operate their businesses without fear of interference. As you can see, each of these ingredients was essential for fueling the Industrial Revolution. However, it was their combination in Britain that made it possible for the country to dominate the world's first wave of industrialization. Once the ball started rolling, so to speak, Britain's lead compounded over time. Its superior economy enabled it to produce more inventions, which led to further industrial growth and more wealth. And with more wealth came more innovation. This created a self-sustaining cycle of progress that outpaced the rest of Europe. By 1900, Britain had invented and industrialized dozens of new technologies, including the steam engine, the cotton gin, the power loom, the telegraph, and the internal combustion engine. These inventions transformed every aspect of daily life and made Britain the world's first modern industrial society. However, the Industrial Revolution wasn't all sunshine and rainbows for the British people. While the country as a whole became significantly wealthier, the benefits weren't evenly distributed. In fact, the Industrial Revolution caused massive inequality between the rich factory owners and the poor workers. As factories became larger and more efficient, they required a large and cheap workforce. This led to the growth of slums where workers lived in poverty and often died young. Children were employed in factories from a young age and worked long hours for low wages. Additionally, working conditions were often dangerous and unhealthy. Workers faced the risk of injury or death from accidents or diseases caused by toxic materials. Furthermore, the rapid pace of industrialization led to social problems like crime, poverty, and prostitution. As cities grew rapidly, they struggled to keep up with the demand for housing, sanitation, and education. Despite these challenges, the Industrial Revolution was a pivotal moment in human history, and it marked the beginning of the modern world. It ushered in an era of unprecedented technological progress and material wealth, and it fundamentally changed the way we live, work, and interact with the world around us. The lessons we learn from the British experience can help us better understand the forces that shape our world today and can provide insights into how we can build a more sustainable and equitable future for all. Thank you for watching.